Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Kira, and today we're doing a military edition. And I just want to kind of, tell y'all about my little lifestyle and what I do on a daily basis. Y'all also realize why my YouTube videos don't be posted like regularly as much as I used to because I am busy. Your girl is always busy. But this video here is to pretty much tell y'all how I became an officer and pretty much why I became an officer. So when I was in high school, I did JRTC for the Air Force. And doing JRTC, that pretty much shaped me for the military. I knew I always wanted to be in the military after doing that program in high school. So I went to college at Ole Miss. And after my freshman year in college, towards the end of my freshman year actually, I decided I wanted to join the military in the reserves. So I didn't quite know exactly which branch I wanted to join because all I knew was Air Force. So I tried to join the Air Force. However, I had a timeline that I set for myself, and I wanted to be able to go to basic training, go to AIT, and only miss one semester of my college, 4 years. However, the Air Force is like, hey, we won't be able to see the basic training until possibly the end of this year, and it was 2015 when I joined the Army. So I decided, you know what, let's go to the Navy. So I didn't just go straight to the Army because, you hear this and that about the Army, you hear this and that about every branch. So I wanted to try them all out. So next I went to the Navy. And they pretty much said the same thing as well. They were just like, we won't be able to get you in time and finish AIT as well, within a year. Within this year. So I was like, you know what? Let me go to the Army. Because I just knew I didn't want to join the Marine. That was just something that was definitely out the picture. Didn't even consider it at all. So I went to my Army recruiter back home, where I'm from, Mississippi. And he was like, when are you trying to go? And I was like, as soon as possible. He's like, what you mean as soon as possible? Mind you, it was April, you guys, when I went to talk to him. He's like, how soon you want to go? I said, I'm trying to go as soon as possible. Soon I get done with my freshman year. Y'all, why this man had me a date, my recruiter had me a date to go to basic training in June. Yeah, in June. That was less than 2 months. I was headed off to basic training. So preparing for basic training, I did go to the unit on the weekends and, prep with them. But I was always in good shape. I already had a little military background because when I was in JRTC, I did the drill team. So I knew how to march. I knew how to do, pretty much all of the basics as a soldier. I knew about, we did like land nail stuff. So I had, an idea about the military. It's just, I didn't have as much idea and experience with the Army, but they all are relatable. So it wasn't too much for me to try to adjust. Okay. So then, I get my basic training date. He's like, hey, you going to basic training in June, blah, 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 2015. And I was like, okay. What about AIT? He's like, you're going to AIT right after that, and you should be done November the 9th. I think it was November 9th, 8th, 7th, somewhere around there. But I just know I got done right before my birthday, which my birthday is November the 11th. So I was like, oh, yeah, sign me up now, y'all. So, I had already took the ASVAB in high school. The ASVAB lasts a few years. So I was good to go. I didn't have to take the ASVAB again. So I was pretty much all set. I did all my paperwork. I went to MEPS. I probably went to MEPS. I went to MEPS in May. Yeah, I went to MEPS in May. They cleared me to join the Army, cleared me to go to basic training. And in June, I was off to Fort Sill. So I completed basic training at Fort Sill. And after completing basic training at Fort Sill, I ended up going to AIT at Fort Lee, Virginia. I was quartermaster, now military intelligence. But I was a 92 Fox patrolling supply specialist in the reserves. So after that, I went to my reserve unit. And of course, you know how the reserves is. You either get a good reserve unit or you get a reserve unit that's pretty lazy. So for me, my reserve unit was so lazy, I never did my job except for when we had annual training. So there was no prepping for annual training. It just, you did your annual training. And that was all the time. That was the only time I did my job. So I wasn't, complaining. So now let's fast forward to how I became an active duty officer in the Army. Because I didn't have to join the Army Reserve to become an officer. But that was something that I wanted to do. I wanted to already serve my country as well as while being in school. So I also joined ROTC. But because I was prior service, I only had to do 2 years of ROTC. Unlike some of my other battle buddies, they have to do 3 to 4 years of ROTC in order to commission as an officer. So I joined ROTC, I want to say my junior year, because I went to talk to them right before the end of my sophomore year. So I talked to them out, you know, told them who I was, did all the paperwork. They approved me to do ROTC. And pretty much I did ROTC my last 2 years of college. And towards the end of my ROTC career, I decided I wanted to try active duty. Because at first, I originally wanted to just stay reserve, and I had different jobs lined up already. So I was just like, you know, I was a criminal justice major. I worked for the school police. So I had a lot of stuff already going for myself. But I realized, you know what, let's just try active duty out. So I tried out active duty. I put down what branch I wanted, which was military intelligence. I got my first branch. That was my #1 pick. I think my second was like quartermaster, then like AG, finance, and I don't remember the rest after that. But military intelligence was my #1 pick, and I was able to get it. So with ROTC, so they pretty much have different scholarships that require, not require, but give you different paths that you can take. And I already had a scholarship through my school, so I did not do the scholarship the ROTC offered because I didn't want to be set to go to one career path. I didn't want to pick the National Guard one because I definitely didn't want to switch from reserve to National Guard. That was just a no-no for me. And I didn't know if I wanted to do active duty or not, so I did not take the scholarship with ROTC. I just did SMP. Like I said, I already had a scholarship that I received when I was in high school, and it covered my 4 years. So it was called Gear Up Mississippi. So that scholarship there, you know, I was like, well, I mean, of course, you know, you want extra money, but at the same time, me being prior service and in a reserve, I was getting my Montgomery GI Bill on top of my drill check, on top of my SMP check from ROTC. So I was still, you know, getting a little extra money each month, more than some of my other battle buddies that were not prior service. Okay, so long story short, like I said, I ended up getting my #1 pick, military intelligence. I tried to do active duty, and I was selected for active duty. So I pretty much decided I want to do active duty like probably the last like 6 months. I'd say about 7 months of my ROTC career. And luckily I was still able to, you know, pick between the two. And I want to say I got my orders maybe March, April time frame, saying where I was going to get stationed at, when I had to report to BOLIC and everything. But overall, the ROTC process, I feel like that's the best route to go if you're a college student already. Because that's what worked for me. But I also was thinking too, you know, I was like the whole time I was just like, I want to just live a normal college life. You know, I wanted to be able to experience college without having to do ROTC. So I did, you know, debate for a while on just doing, you know, finishing up my 4-year degree and then doing OCS. But I was like, why would I do OCS when I can just be doing ROTC now? And then once I'm graduated, I'm already an officer instead of trying to become an officer after I graduated. So for me, that was the best route to go. And like I said, I've even had people in my class who were active duty and they switched to the guard or reserve just to go to college and do ROTC because they said it was an easier route versus trying to do OCS. However, I've had 2 of my soldiers that completed OCS within my my unit, and they've had no issues. And so it just depends on if you have your unit support when it comes to trying to attend OCS, because I know like my Army Reserve unit, they weren't trying to support soldiers, and a lot of stuff. Soldiers were trying to come NCOs and all that stuff. So a lot of soldiers didn't have that support. So just being at a unit that's supportive, it's a lot easier. And now I've been an officer for 2.5 years, almost 3 years, maybe make 3 years. And I enjoy it, you know. Of course, you know, every day is not the best day, but just, especially when I was a platoon leader, I feel like that was my most memorable time as an officer, because, you know, you get to interact with your soldiers every day, mentor them, watch them grow, help them achieve the goals that they have set for themselves, and just kind of set up a career path for them, because a lot of soldiers, you know, didn't have a leader previously to, you know, pretty much build that path for them, help them build their career path, because a lot of soldiers are fresh out of college, fresh out of high school, correction, and never been to college but want to go to college. Some of you want to do ROTC, like I mentioned. I'm in ROTC, but OCS. So it's just, you know, a lot of soldiers don't have that push. So, you know, just being able to push them, that was pretty much one of my most memorable moments as being an officer so far. What else I would say? I served in like many positions. One thing about being an officer, you would never have a set job. They will move you around so much. Wherever they need you, they're moving around, regardless of what your branch. Like me being military intelligence officer, guess y'all, I was the assistant supply officer. The assistant S4. Has nothing to do with my job, you know. But because you're an officer, you have to be able to adapt. You have to be able to take on whatever task you're given and easily adapt to it. Take on whatever role you're given and easily adapt to it. So that was something that I did enjoy because you know you get experience in multiple fields. And then now I serve as the assistant S3, which is the planning and operation officer. And I said there's so many moving pieces as the AS3. You're constantly busy. You constantly got your nose in here, there. Constantly, you know, having tasks to do, disseminating information out. Because I'm at the battalion level, so I'm disseminating information out to the company levels. And also coordinate with the brigade as well. So, like I said, this is how I became an officer. I did the ROTC route, as I mentioned. And yeah, you know, if y'all have any questions, just be sure to ask. Just kind of brief overview of my military career. I didn't really go into too much detail, but just kind of gave y'all a brief overview of my military career and who I am and what I do on a daily basis.